Colorado Mountain Living, and this morning got some somber news about one of the wildfires. This is not the wildfire that's really close to us. This is one that's a couple hours away. It's called the East Troublesome Fire, and last night we found out that it basically exploded. And the reason we knew that something was going on was because of this crazy footage. Brian was noticing on his way home from work these plumes of smoke that were coming out of the clouds. I mean, it looked like clouds, but it was really just plumes of smoke that were exploding across the sky, looking really dramatic at the sunset hour. And he encouraged me to kind of take a ride. I went to fill up my gas tank and turned around, looked towards the mountains, and same thing. I mean, just really wild, big plumes of smoke, really cloudy, dramatic images, and a lot of people were pulling over on the side of the road taking photos. In fact, at one point, I saw a fire truck, a local fire truck, pull over, probably to take some photos, just looking at what's going on. But so it turns out that this fire, it's called the East Troublesome Fire. What a name, right? And this fire is in Grand County, Colorado. So it's a ways away, it's a couple hour drive to get there, maybe more, but it's closer to the backside of the Rocky Mountain National Park. And apparently it was the high winds yesterday that really got this fire going. I think in my last video, it was somewhere around 12 or 15,000 acres, but apparently it blew up to about 30,000 acres that evening right at sunset. And then it just went crazy after that. I think it was reported that it got to a level of burning 6,000 acres per hour. Just let that sink in. So I'm reading this morning across a lot of the media that the current size of this wildfire is over 120,000 acres. So exploded tenfold yesterday due to the winds, and it forced the evacuations of the Grand Lake. And a closure of the Rocky Mountain National Park on that particular side. So I don't even know the latest updates, still morning time. And so I'm not really sure, where they stand right now. But just a really sad thing. I mean, it's striking looking at these photos, but realizing what's behind the photo. It's a out of control wildfire and people having to evacuate their homes. So it's really sad. And it's just keeping us really vigilant. Today's another day with a red flag warning. And a red flag warning means high winds are imminent, and you have to be really vigilant to make sure keeping an eye out for fires and fire prevention. And it's not too far away. I mean, we are actually I was preparing yesterday for the switch in the weather. We've got some big changes in the weather coming in just a couple of days. We've got frigid cold temperatures. I mean, yesterday was in the high 60s and sunny. It was almost like a bonus summer day. And now we're looking at temperatures are actually going to drop today. I think it's in the 40s right now, but it's supposed to drop into the teens tonight. And it's not supposed to really warm up a whole lot today. I need to get a lot of things ready. I've got the bees to take care of and the garden to take care of because it's pretty much the end of the season. I want to make sure everything's wrapped up for winter because looking ahead at the weekend, we've got some mega weather coming. Fortunately, that is snow. We're looking at, on Sunday, 5 to 8 inches of snow possible. And as we get closer, I expect that total could climb. And in our location, we always get a few inches more than what the forecast says. So we're anticipating a lot of snow Sunday, even frigid temperature Sunday night, looking like it's going to get below zero. So it's just really wild. This is Colorado Mountain Living, looking at these extremes in the weather. And so I got to get busy getting some things ready in preparation for the weekend. But just wanted to give you guys an update on that fire. And I was just lucky to be able to capture some of that footage of those smoke clouds, just really dramatic. Just a really strong reminder to really stay vigilant over the next couple of days because I think we're expecting high winds on Saturday as well. Anyways, guys, that is the latest on the fire, but time to get busy. Got to get ready for the weekend and the cold weather coming because there's a lot to do. Well, folks, what's weird is talking about wildfires and then also talking about a snowstorm coming. So, we're just hanging tight through this next few days as the weather turns from mild and windy down to cold and snowy. So we're expecting the snow to come Sunday. It's actually going to get cold tomorrow night, so it looks like it's going to hit the 20s. So today's really the last nice day to get into the beehives because there's a little bit of maintenance I need to do. I need to pull out those empty feeders and consolidate the frames of honey and then just wrap them up for the winter. One piece of good news is I actually got my easy hive covers. So these are the insulating covers that go around the beehive. Hopefully it keeps the bees nice and snug this winter. So I got to get out there into the hives, consolidate the honey frames, take out the feeders, reduce the boxes, and I also got to get out into the garden and do a final harvest. Putting on my bee suit because I am not going to use a smoker today. I'm not going to take any chances with a rare spark escaping the smoker. So we'll be going smoke-free. That could make the bees a little bit riled up. I guess we'll find out. Hopefully not too riled up. The temperatures are very pleasant right now. It's probably 66 and sunny. Bees are flying all over the place. Some extra frames of honey on the top separated by the inner cover. So everything in here can come out. Ooh, the bees are onto me too. I hate going in without a smoker. It can be really alarming for them. But I'm gonna take this cover off real fast like, and I'm gonna put the lid back on so this hive can be finished. Now I gotta get into this hive, take out the feeder, because the feeder's empty, and consolidate, add more frames of honey if I can. Anything empty I'm pulling out because they ain't got nothing in it. The bees are definitely agitated. Me coming into the hive on a day like today. Okay, there's one more really good frame of honey I'm going to put into this hive. Whew. Wow, the bees are flying right out at me. I don't know if you can see them, but they're buzzing my face. They're like, get out of this hive. I'm almost done, Okay, one more frame to put in. Let's see if I can find one more frame of honey. Off this donation hive, and here it is. I'm going to put it on the end here. Woo! It's the wrong day to knock around the hive and make a lot of disturbance. But, gotta do what you gotta do. Now I gotta close this up without getting stung. Let's see if I can do it. I'm gonna put the cover on. Call that a wrap. Okay. That frame's done. That hive is done. Put the stone back on. Okay. Now I just have to take the feeder out of this first hive, and we're done. And now I'm removing this super with the feeder. I see honey in all the frames. This hive is pretty packed with honey, so I'm the least worried about it. They don't need any supplemental at this point. So the last thing to do tonight, I'm gonna put the insulators on tonight. So yeah, I'm glad we're in pretty good shape. What I could identify, each of the boxes is completely full of honey. That middle one, the weak hive, even though their feeder was still full, they weren't able to put up as much honey as I wanted them to, so I gave them 3 more frames of honey. Looking good. Very happy about the status of the bees, and I can put my insulators on and they'll be all set tonight. All right, let's go over to the garden and wrap up the harvest for the year. I have to say there's not much left in the garden. We've gone through quite a bit of lettuce. Some cold weather got the green beans and the peas, and the zucchini, obviously. And a little critter has been going after the kale. So all the baby kale that was in there, eaten up. And the big kale, well, take a look. Looks like there's not much left to share, so. I guess I just might leave it at this point. But this big beet I really want to have. So I'm actually gonna pick this thing, see how big this has been growing all summer. And not a decent, not a bad size. Not a bad size for a beet. So what I really like more than the beets are the beet greens. So I'm just gonna pick all of these because we are getting that 20-degree weather. And I'm going to trim the last of the lettuce. So, there's a little bit of lettuce left, a little bit of romaine. It's good enough for a salad. And this. Well, not a bad haul from the garden for October 20 something. Like for the end of October, it really is a pretty good amount of harvest. So I think we definitely learned some things this year from the garden, what grows, what we're gonna have to watch out for, like according to pests getting in the garden, eating things up. So definitely got some ideas ready for next year. All right, it's a little bit later in the day, so I'm coming out here with the hive covers. See. All right, so the hives are all set and ready for winter. Tomorrow's our last warmish day, about 50 degrees, but it's supposed to be really windy, so I don't think that these black covers are going to overheat them at all. I think they're going to be fine. And I'm just picking up the rest of the stuff, the rest of the feeders and stuff, because we're done for the year, officially done. And maybe as the weather gets warmer, if we have any really mild days, I can check on their honey status and see if they need any supplemental feeding. But it's been a pretty good year. It was a close call on a couple of times with that hive, with the mouse almost not making it, and just making sure that they're being fed enough during a drought. Sometimes on drought years, you do a lot of feeding. That's what I've learned so far in the 3 years I've kept bees up in the mountains, but still learning more, and I'm hoping that it can still be a viable solution for raising bees at high altitude. I think if we plant a lot of clover, we might be able to do more hives. So anyways, guys, appreciate all your support on the bees this year. Hopefully they do well over the winter. This looks like smoke, but it's actually fog. I can feel the cold. It's like the temperature just dropped like 20 degrees So the cold weather, it's on its way. Despite, I just heard that the fire I was talking about earlier just jumped the Continental Divide, and now there's evacuations in Estes Park. So definitely thinking about those guys as we get our cold weather here.